So today's video is going to be the eyeshadow palette tag, and I have a lot of palettes. So I'm just going to quickly put all of these palettes down so I don't have any drops or breaks. So we are going to be doing the eyeshadow palette tag, which was created by Samantha March. This is going to be the 2024 edition. And I saw Amy Loves Makeup do this, so figured this would be quite a fun video to film. So, gonna start by getting into the questions. So, the first question is, what is your newest palette? This is the newest palette. This is an e.l.f. palette. This is like one of their mini palettes. It's like their blue one. I can't remember the name of it, but this is what it looks like. This is my newest palette. Like, this one is what it looks like. Is a favourite release of 2024. I wouldn't say any of my palettes came out in 2024 that I own, but if I had to say like a favourite release, I would say like none of these palettes I don't think came out in 2024. I'm just gonna have a look and see what my favourite palette this year. It's definitely, I feel like probably my favourite palette of the year probably is the Alyssa Antics and Blend Bunny palette. Like, I love the just gonna try and show you. Like, this is probably like my favourite palette of the year. Like, I really like Blend Bunny palettes. Like, I really need to own a Blend Bunny palette at some point, because like I like Blend Bunny's palettes. Also probably the Nomad Cosmetics Polar Express palette. That's one of my favourite. A palette I didn't expect to love, I will say, is this palette. This is the With Love Cosmetics All the Shades 28 Shades eyeshadow palette. This I didn't expect to love, because this is not my colour story at all. Like, I am a colourful makeup lover. I watch a lot of people that do colourful makeup. Like, this is not my colour story at all. Like, this really is not. But I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. I love this shadow, this black shadow. This is my favourite. This is also suitable for vegans, in case anyone's wondering. And I do like it. Like, I like it. Like, I didn't expect to love it as much. Like, I love the shimmers. The mattes are also very good. Like, if you want a good neutral palette, this is one I would definitely go for. Next question is a PR gifted palette you love. I don't get any palette. I haven't received any of these palettes as PR or gifted, so I don't really have an answer for that. Then it's a palette don't love but won't declutter. There's none that I despise. This palette I wouldn't say from Elf's like my most favourite palette, but it's not a bad palette and I wouldn't declutter it. It's just not like some of my other palettes, so this one would probably be my answer. Then we have would repurchase if lost. That would probably go to my Soph X Revolution palette. It's quite old, but it has everything I need, like colours, neutrals, transition shade, crease shade, deepening up shade, eyebrow shade, shimmers, mattes, everything is in this palette. Like, I love it. Like, this palette has everything I need in a palette, so this would be the one I would definitely repurchase if I lost it. Next is most travelled with. This is a tricky one. If I had to say what my most travelled palettes would be, like 3 palettes that are most travelled. This one maybe not so much this year, but I do travel with this loads. This is the Barrier Black Cherry palette. This I just love. Like, it has, like, if you don't want to do anything like so super complex and want just a basic palette, this is good. Like, this is a 9-pan cardboard packaging. It travels really well. Other palettes I often take are the Purist palette. I just love this colour story. This is good if you want like have the patience as a beginner and want a beginner friendly palette and are prepared to use like brushes and things and figure out what works for this palette. I would recommend it. Or if you're like quite new to colour. But this still has the neutral fill. And also the MUA Jeweled palette. This is more of a warm toned palette. Like, I really like this. Like, this has more of the warm toned colours. Next question is first palette to use in 2024. I wouldn't know. I'm going to have to go back and check that because I haven't checked what. I'm going to have to go back to like my really sort of early videos of like this year and see. That feels like such a blur away what my first palette was I used. Wow. I feel like from this vlog clip, it looks like from this vlog that it's either, looks like one of two it could be. Looks like it's either the MUA Jeweled palette or the Soph X Revolution palette. I'm leaning towards it being, I'm pretty sure the Soph X Revolution palette was the first palette I used. But the Jeweled also has very similar colours, so that's a hard question. And that also is like a very long time ago, it feels like. So those would probably be my answers. Next is a palette that sparks joy. I would say probably this palette sparks joy, the MUA Professional Peacock palette. This I love, and even though it's kind of older, I still keep it. Like, I love the blues, I love the greens, I love that you still have some neutral tones. Like, it has a mixture, like very much like peacock. Like this one, I'd say, like the memories of getting to play with blues and more greens for the first time. Like, I was gutted when this fell off and broke, this particular shade. Like, I was gutted. So it'd definitely be this one. Dear Santa, tell me that you'll make it here in time. Then next is a palette that you keep for the memories. I think probably this one I still use it. Like, none of them are literally not usable. But this one's like quite broken, so I've kept this a lot for memories. Like, this is my first palette getting me into makeup. Like, that's part of the reason I wanted to use it and keep it. But it's so sad that it was broken. But that, if it hadn't been broken, it wouldn't have got me into makeup. I wouldn't be filming this video if it hadn't broken, because I was like, got it as a gift and I was like, I can't give that as a gift because it's broken. So this definitely has memories attached to it. Next and finally we have an underrated palette. What's an underrated palette? Definitely this palette. The Barry M Black Cherry. I just feel like I see nobody talk about like Barry M eyeshadows. Like, nobody talks about Barry M. Like, I don't even think Barry M is that hyped of a brand, but this is just such a good palette. Like, it's neutrals with colour. Like, it gets you into like pinks and purples, and it's colour, but it's not like full bam colour. Like, it literally is so good if you're like starting to dip your toe into colour. Like, it's such a good palette. Like, I literally got this for like makeup for a carol service, so this palette is definitely underrated. So this is the palette tag talking about all of my palettes. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.